Welcome to the Master Plan Kickoff and Town Tour video. I'm Melissa Hebert, a member of the Master Plan Update Steering Committee and Vice Chair of the Board of Selectmen.
And I'm Renato Nakagomi, a member of the Master Plan Update Steering Committee, representing the community at large.
We're pleased to bring you this introduction to Littleton's Master Plan Update process.
First, we'd like to introduce the members of the Master Plan Update Steering Committee, or the MPUSC.
Paul Lavella, who's the chair of the committee, Melissa Hebert, Richard Crowley, Peter Scott, Mike Fontanella, Gary LaCroix. There's an open spot for any town or committee member. Paul Glavey, Michael Zeldin, Joseph Ficello, John Bellafield, and Renato Nakagomi.
As of March 18th, there's one opening on the MPUSC. If you're on a board or committee and are interested, please send your application to the Selectmen's office by April 8th at the latest.
Planning is a critical step in every journey. As we've moved through time here in Littleton, we've seen much change over these past 10 or so years. Some we are pleased with, some not so. For us to have the best chance over the next 10 plus years of having more of what we like and less of what we do not, a solid, well thought out and very vetted plan is essential in achieving that goal. The master plan process currently underway helps us achieve that objective. With our consultant RKG, we believe that we are well positioned to get a solid and well thought out plan. But it has to be our plan, the plan of all of us in Littleton. The Master Plan Update Steering Committee is committing to working with everyone in town to achieve not only the solid and well thought out plan, but one that is thoroughly vetted by everyone in town. That is only possible if we engage with you and you with us. Over the next 30 minutes or so, we are going to share some thoughts and ideas and ask for your help in making your master plan the best it can be, one that serves our town's needs, your needs.
We've spent the last 12 months learning as much as we can about the master plan process, talking to the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, or MAPC, which is Littleton's regional planning agency, meeting with town officials from other towns that have recent experience with master planning, and undertaking an extensive search to find the right consultant to work with us on Littleton's master plan. The town has chosen to contract with RKG Associates, Inc. to update our master plan. Judy Barrett is the principal in charge of this project and the project manager. Judy brings a wealth of knowledge and understanding to the table and has promised to challenge us all as we move forward. Working with Judy Barrett are Eric Halverson of RKG, Daphne Politis of Community Circle, Peter Flinker of Dodson and Flinker, and Patricia Kelleher of Community Opportunities Group.
At the March 2nd, 2016 MPUSC meeting, Judy Barrett provided an introduction of their team's approach to updating Littleton's master plan.
Hi, welcome to Littleton. We're taking the master plan consultants on a quick town tour. We hope to hit several highlights and answer the questions along the way. Okay, we're starting at Town Hall. Town Hall houses a lot of town departments, including the library that's on this end, Council on Aging and Park and Rec, School Department, and then all the usual Town Hall departments. Parts of it work well, parts of it are very crowded. The library is looking for renovations or a new site. Council on Aging would like to have additional facilities. School department often feels crowded. We're at 300 King Street, or Castle in the Trees. It started, in my memory anyway, there were a couple of tennis courts and a basketball court with a big old chain link fence around it. At one point there was a kind of impromptu skate park behind it. We weren't able to maintain that. And then 25 years ago, built Castle in the Trees, the wooden playground, a volunteer built. And Aiden's Playground added just in the last few years. And then Park and Rec did a major fundraiser and was able to come up with funds for the parking area and the updated courts that you see here. And actually the land backs up to the middle school, way over that way, and one of the elementary schools as well. It's hard to get here from there, but the property does go all the way through. Yeah, middle school is 6th, 7th, and 8th. This other elementary school, Russell Street School, that we're going by is 3rd through 5th then. Right? So this is the Littleton Middle School. I don't remember what year it was built, but I just read that again in the town treasurer's report, the bond information that he sent over, it was in there.
Adequate?
No. We don't have enough ball fields.
One of the things that we're wrestling with as a town is, turf to me is grass, but in the industry it's referred to as synthetics.
Right.
And so as a result, there's a fraction that would like to have turf or synthetics.
Yep.
And then there are some other individuals who view the carcinogen issues as a deterrent.
Okay, so obviously we get to Russell Street School at just about bus time, so we're not going to pull all the way up. But anyway, the Russell Street School was the, what did I say, 3rd through 6th,
Right,
3rd through
3 through
5th,
5.
Yep.
3 through 5, yeah.
So then you have an early primary, like K through 2?
K through 2 is
Yep.
the shaker line.
Yeah, pre-K through 2, yeah.
The Tiger's Den.
The Tiger's Den is here
Yeah,
again?
it is
Yeah,
here.
before and after school care.
Do a lot of kids get bused to school or walking?
Yes, they
They're
are bused mostly.
Mostly bused, yeah,
Or parents are picked up.
yeah, yeah.
So do you have a safe routes to school program?
Sidewalks has been an issue. We have mapped where the sidewalks are, haven't had any funding for the next step.
Okay.
Oh, and actually, the Mill Pond Apartments are on the left. That was a 40B.
What percentage are you?
12 and a half, yeah. And already working on what's next so that we can stay above 10%.
Do you have capacity issues at the schools at all?
No.
No. No, set. And that, no capacity issues at
No, I
any of
figured
the
it
schools?
had to be up there somewhere.
No, because of our, no. If we get to capacity at the high school, there's a phantom wing. So more classrooms could be built. They did build the core so that additional classrooms could be added. We'd lose some ball fields, but you'd have the additional classrooms.
So there's not much of an area of ball fields here.
Right, the high
Why
school.
they still play at the middle school.
Right, why the
So was
football
this-
field is still,
Was this a totally new site for the
Yes.
school when they built it?
Mhm.
Did they
Yeah.
build it here because
because,
town already owned it?
yes, yeah. Yep, and the access was good right off the highway.
That has presented some problems as far as traffic getting in and out of here.
Yeah, as with most high schools, drop off and pick up and is very busy time.
They ever discussed regionalization of the schools? Or?
Yeah, every time you build a new school, you have to discuss regionalization. It certainly didn't come out as a plus when we were looking at it. The other towns have to be looking at it at the same time. Acton, Boxborough.
Acton, Boxborough, and Concord,
And
Carlisle.
Well, Concord, Carlisle is not close to us, not adjacent.
Air was its own district
Right.
until Devon's closed, and then it remained its own district for a while. They've now regionalized it.
It's surely correct. Right,
Which had no district.
right,
It had no high school.
right,
Amazing story.
right. So, and now they do share some athletics with some of the other departments. For example, there's a gymnastics team shared Littleton, Parker Charter School at Devon's, and Harvard, I think.
Yeah.
The hockey teams sometimes share Littleton and Harvard. I haven't heard what the most recent is. So anyway, now we're going, this is the Littleton Light and Water Department and the Highway Department. Yep.
So how long have you had a municipal light?
Good question.
Forever.
Because they just celebrated an anniversary and it was
100
100 and,
Really?
yeah.
or
A
something.
lot of the towns that have them have had them since that legislation was passed.
Yeah.
They're pretty old.
We also service Boxborough, Light.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Right. The NEPA building back there is associated with the Littleton Light Department. It's in New England Power something association, Public Power Association, I think. Yeah, FIBA Technologies is one of our new favorite companies in town. They bought the old Sandvale pre-stress buildings. Sandvale used to make the panels that you see this building constructed with. It had been empty for a number of years. FIBA Technologies purchased it and are renovating piece by piece, and they're taking over about 2/3 of the building right now, and we'll be leasing out more pieces of it as they move forward.
The name of the company?
FIBA Technologies, FIBA. So there's a quarry on the left. You can't see it through the vegetation, but it's back there. And then on the left is a 500,000 square foot warehouse that they put solar panels on top and then up beside it. We're on Distribution Center Circle right now.
Yep.
Fairly new roadway. Okay, so on the left is the brand new warehouse building for Potpourri Company. They hope to open as soon as middle of the year. It'll be an e-distribution center. They like to think of them, or kind of a mini Amazon. So they'll have picking and packing facilities, they'll have call center, they'll have IT. They expect up to 400 employees, not all on one shift, but especially during the busy time. So this was a big.
How much do you expect the jobs will be for Littleton?
They like to hire local, is what they told us. They will be busing somehow their current employees from Wittensville, those that want to stay and make that travel. So we thought it was interesting that they had that much support for their current employees. I thought that was wonderful to see.
What made them relocate to Littleton?
Being able to build their own facility that was big enough for them to grow into. And they
Tax
had,
incentive funding as well.
I was going to ask if that's it.
yep, there was a tip. But as you know, that's just only on the increase in property value. So, yep, and the flip side on that is we know our growth numbers for this building for the next 10 years. So it spreads the growth out over that period of time.
Right.
Yep.
What about all this impact on the traffic? Is there any thought as to?
Okay, when this area was first permitted through the MPUSC process and through the Planning Board's special permit process, it was approved as a trucking warehouse center. So the actual traffic numbers that we're seeing are a lot low and a lot more employee traffic than was permitted.
Initially, okay.
Right.
Was this a private developer? Built
Yes.
this?
Yep.
But it was zoned as an industrial park?
Yes. Yeah. Zone industrial A. So. Yep.
Does the town have any kind of an industrial development agency? What do you call it?
No.
Industrial Development Corporation.
No.
And the EDIC.
No. No. Good question.
Or an economic development officer of any sort?
No.
No. Economic Development Committee?
Or it's you?
There is an economic development committee.
Are they active, Mara?
They will be active again soon, doing the EDSAT.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I hope.
When are you scheduled to do that, the NSAT?
Keith just sent out an email last week, I think, giving heads up that it should be soon.
Good.
So,
That should be a real benefit
Yeah.
to the master plan.
yes. Yeah.
So how much more is there capacity for expansion here?
This is about it for the building footprint area that we could fit. A lot of wetlands on the site.
Sure are, yes.
What they did was they designed the roadway to loop around
Yeah.
the major portion of the wetlands.
Yeah.
So was all the infrastructure for this done privately?
Yes.
The town didn't have to extend or pay to extend utilities?
Correct. Right. The first developer, GFI, ended up going bankrupt, not necessarily just because of this development, but they were apparently spread very thin across the state and their timing. And then in the last few years, Condyne purchased from them and are now finishing out the development with the help of the Potpourri Company coming in and wanting their new building. And we'll see the roadway finished off. And
It's great.
yeah,
It's great that you guys didn't have to shell out a lot of your own town money to do it.
yeah.
And Condyne was very nice. I live up the hill, and they were very good about landscaping and terracing and making certain that the areas that had been defoliated and denuded were covered and taken care of.
Right.
The Conservation Commission, Jerry Cavallo, I think, was part and parcel of that one.
Yeah.
Has there been any discussion of the design of this? People like it? Wish it was different?
I haven't gotten any feedback on it, but I
The design of this
wouldn't.
particular facade,
Well, I mean, the whole
thing.
development
Oh, yeah,
obviously
yeah.
was done a while ago, but a lot of towns are trying to retrofit their old industrial parks, make them more mixed use, have, village centers and stuff
attractive.
even.
Yeah, no, I haven't really gotten any feedback on it, but it's an interesting question.
I mean, partly it's to attract new businesses that don't want to be in an industrial park necessarily. Though we
Right.
have
Well, they're looking for services for their employees.
Well,
distribution
and
centers.
as we get back out onto Air Road, there's some existing services, but a lot of opportunity for more restaurants or whatever down there.
How far is it?
Oh, just where we turned off Air Road, just
But I mean,
down
could they
there.
walk?
That's
Not so much.
probably not.
Probably not. Probably wouldn't. There will be a cafeteria on site here. Right.
Do you have a swap at the transfer station?
Yeah, a closed dump, closed landfill, and transfer station has the swap and recycling. Yeah. So right now we're going through the permitting process for Air Liquide, which is the hydrogen fuel for hydrogen cars, Toyota Mirai. So they're going to have a depot facility here. So they'll bring in the liquid hydrogen, pressurize it into gas form, and go out from here to other fueling facilities. So there's some of the trailers that they're. Anyway, this is some more of the industrial area. On the right is aggregate industries, it's active quarry back there. Opportunities for more additional development. To me, it would be a perfect place for a restaurant to serve a lot of the new employees that are coming to the area. This is an over 55 private homes, yeah. Which doesn't count towards our SHI because they're not income restricted, not deed restricted. Yeah. Okay, this intersection here, Keith wanted to make sure that I took you through that. Town of Littleton, well, he sent pictures and everything. So,
This morning.
yeah. Town of Littleton Board of Selectmen and Air Board of Selectmen got the ear of the State Highway, and State Highways agreed to put a temporary traffic light up there by this summer, and then within 5 years do some upgrades at that intersection. So, and now we're on Bruce Street. We'll get to see some of the active farms in this end of town.
How many active farms do you have?
That's a very good question. That's a good question for the Agricultural Commission.
We'll be going past, at the end of Bruce Street, the Pickard family milk farm, which is probably the last milk farm in
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
you still have a milk farm?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
That's impressive.
yeah,
So we just passed a what looked like a relatively new subdivision right there on the left.
yeah.
And then there was a much older home in front on the street. Was
Yeah.
that a farmhouse there that had ended up selling the farm to create the subdivision?
Probably so. So this is the Pickard Dairy Farm on the right. Back up behind it, there's a new subdivision up on the hill, but it has, what, 7 houses, I think? So, and actually, James is on the Conservation Commission, longtime member there, so we may get to meet him through the process.
Do you have any protection on that? Conservation restrictions?
No.
That might be our
No.
database for the town.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah. I know we have all
I
that.
think if they did, you would know.
Well, I don't necessarily pay attention to exactly which lands are chapter lands. I just know we have a robust chapter land program. So that was Bruce Street. Was reconstructed a few years ago after being one of the roads in one of the worst conditions in town for many years. So I guess the roadway program is funded, but probably underfunded to keep up with, definitely underfunded to keep up with the work that needs to be done.
State chapter 90 money?
Actually, the Chapter 90 money isn't nearly enough to keep the roads up to date.
So are the funds concentrated in one particular area in town?
Yeah, when we go out,
Upper left here.
yeah, when we go out Great Road East and Great Road West, we'll see those. So now we're at what I call very fine, depending on how long you've lived in town is what you call this. New England Apple Products. It's the factories now closed. New Mill Capital owns it and is marketing it. Their first choice is to find a new bottler to come in and take over this. There's a lot of the manufacturing facilities on the left side of the road there are much older, and that area could be redeveloped separately from the rest of the warehouse and bottling facility on the right. Let's see, Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee mentioned that they wanted to go by this area and highlight that it could become some sort of a walkable community area.
Which could,
Is it redevelop it into a...
this whole
Little village.
area.
I wasn't sure how to read their comments, but
Why was very fine here? A particular water supply?
well, New England Apple Products is how it started. Apple cider and apple vinegar. Neshoba Valley is also sometimes known as Apple Valley.
But why this location?
It's right on the railroad tracks. Littleton Water Department has supplied water to the facility forever, as far as I can tell. We're about 30% of the water use. So it was a big,
Big customer.
yes, big customer.
Is the water department reorganizing as a result of the impact of this closure?
That would be part of it. They were able, yeah, that's a good question for them, yeah.
Maren, are they part of the Consolidated Department of Public Works or are they independent?
They're independent. Okay, and not too often do you see a 3-way stop sign. So, on the left is the old train station, Old Depot. Mr. Erickson, private owner, refurbishes old stoves.
Was that the station for the whole town historically?
Yes, historically it was, yeah. Yeah, well, when we hit Foster Street, we'll go to the new train station. So we're on Taylor Street now. Taylor Street's an interesting mix between old homes, and then as we get on the left, you'll see a little bit of industrial. Then on the left, we have a small uplands area inside of obviously a small uplands area inside of a wetlands area that's being developed as a composting site. So we're coming up on the interchange of Route 2 and 495. Go by both of those. So Littleton has 3 interchanges on 495. On the right, there's a couple of old digital equipment company buildings. The first one, HP, has a lot of equipment there. Another one up, the higher one, it seemed to have a lot of tenants in and out of there. Oh, and then I'm on a couple of underutilized office buildings down there. So we're going left on Foster. Excellent. So on the right-hand side, there's approvals in place for 330,000 square feet of office park, but nobody's building office parks. Well, fewer building office parks right now. A few smaller office areas. So some are underutilized. Several of them are old Digital Equipment Corporation buildings. We had, 8 different buildings in town that yeah. But it's been very interesting to see the different directions each of the buildings has taken. The 2 here kind of underutilized, the 2 on Porter Road tended to have more manufacturing. IBM is now in the 2 that are at the Common. So yeah, we can stop at the train station when we get there. So we're under Route 2.
So they're going to be parking on the trees.
Well, yeah. But we don't ticket on purpose. Yeah.
Instead of enacted where the express ones came in,
Yep.
They have now rejiggered the schedule so we get reverse commute that people can actually get to work on time. So yes, there's.
So you have 1 station, correct?
I think this is good right here, Bill.
Yeah, this is great.
Yep.
So this is our brand new train station. I think Eric, you mentioned that we now have the reverse commute and the double track. As you notice, parking is at a premium. The T just opened up 25 more spaces across Foster Street. I don't know if you noticed, there was a small roadway that came in down there. It's called Grimes Lane. There's a 30-lot subdivision proposed for the area across the street, cluster subdivision. That's one's called the Durkee Tree Farm. Durkee Farm Estates is the name of the subdivision. I just have the definitive subdivision application, so I wouldn't be surprised if that comes up during our discussions. Because the Durkee family and the Kay family both had the need to sell property about the same time, and their property it was all adjacent.
So how long has the station been here before they built the new building?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, I don't know.
It was
It's been a
never
small
in,
stop.
Yeah,
It was never in the other, where the old depot was.
I don't.
The other one
I
was
don't know.
more for cargo,
Right.
freight. I think there is a commuter line that comes through there, but it does not stop there anymore.
Yeah, I don't know if the commuter rail ever used the other one or not. I don't
It
have.
did in the early days. In fact, there were, if you look at the history, then you'll see that there were fires that were there because of cargo and other things. So that was the original. But when it moved here,
Yeah.
Is it still an active freight line for the distribution and the businesses that are down that way?
Yes. Yeah.
it was very busy for verifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there any thought to building a parking structure here?
We would be happy to entertain the T if they were looking at doing a small
that.
structure here, right? Right.
Does the T own this lot?
Yes. Yeah.
Is the town still looking at private property owners that might have land available to expand? Parking lot? I know one time, maybe a year or two ago, you guys were kicking around that idea.
Right. I think the selectmen are still interested in figuring some of that out. Yeah. Obviously, we still, even with the 25 new spaces across the street, we still need more parking.
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the building across the tracks?
It's a warehouse, stone yard, being leased for several different purposes right now. There is land behind it that theoretically could be used for parking, but it's privately owned. Walking.
Yeah.
No sidewalks.
No sidewalks.
Yeah, it's a problem. The developer of the Durkee Tree Farm has agreed to provide an easement. Development property eventually backs up to the town forest and to some local streets down there. And he would provide an easement for a walking or biking trail to go through. Would be nice to, and it's been long discussed to have some sort of walking path, sidewalk along Foster Street. Problem becomes the stone walls and the historic trees, but the actual right-of-way for Foster Street tends to be very wide. So there should be some way to creatively make that happen.
So nobody comes here by bicycle either?
A few do.
Because I don't see any bicycle
It's
rides.
down towards the main, to the left.
I see.
I think there are about 3 racks.
And that's where Eric knows the answer. I love it. Okay, so I'm thinking Lower Foster Street next. Well, the goal was to be able to get from Fitchburg to North Station in an hour. So here to Porter is what, 45? Yeah. And Foster Street itself is a mix of older homes and newer homes.
So in your previous master plan, it said that it was mostly a community of starter homes, but that was changing and that they were kind of
Subdivision.
growing in size. So do you have any kind of mansion phenomenon or demolition of the starter homes?
We see some of that. The limiting factor seems to be septic, the soils.
Oh.
So,
We passed on the left-hand side, the Show of Life.
oh,
sign.
yeah, that's right.
Nursing care.
Oh,
That's right.
so it's a nursing home?
Can
Yeah.
be short-term. I don't know, think if they have, I'm not sure they have long-term as well.
What did you call it?
The Shovel Life Care, I think it's.
Yeah. Bumblebee Park.
Bumblebee
one of
Park.
the Local locations for kids to come sled riding.
Yep, the backside of that hill is awesome.
It is.
So a few new homes going in on the left. They were A&R'd, I don't know, probably 10 years ago. And developer's been holding the property.
So how much of the town is sewer?
None.
None. No.
No.
Oh,
Private septics.
all private.
Did they have to build us
They-
their own,
Yeah.
their own package plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a package plant in the industrial areas?
No.
Is water provided throughout?
Not throughout.
Not throughout.
We can ask the Light and Water Department
Right.
for a map of their service area. 'Cause I don't know that off the top of my head.
Some of the
So when-
houses up on your right-hand side are the older houses in the town of Littleton.
Right. At one point, Littleton had discussed establishing a historic district that didn't ever come to fruition, but it would have included this area.
Do you have no historic district?
No historic district.
That was one of the things Patty Kelleher wanted me to ask her about.
It's been quite a time since there were any discussions, so. Yeah,
This is sweet.
it is, yeah.
The gazebo where the prom pictures are taken.
So this is
Oh, yeah.
town-owned?
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, Fay Park, right here on your right, and then up the road you get to private property owned by New England Forestry Foundation, and then up on the left is, obviously can't see it from here, but is the community farm. I think they're just in their second year now of producing produce. Well, there's got to be a better word to say that.
Growing.
Harvesting.
Growing produce. They
Who owns that?
property is owned by the town.
I think so.
I think so, and leased to the community farm. Yeah, and I know there was some sort of agreement with Neff as well, so that's why I'm thinking Neff may own some of the property.
So who's behind that? The community farm?
Yeah.
Local volunteers?
Yes, local volunteers. They have hired a farmer that takes care of all of the operations there.
So
We
is there
can.
like a farmer's market that people can go?
They do CSA. They're thinking about adding sales outside of the CSA. I'm not sure how that's going, but we certainly can get you in touch with the group.
Educational programming?
Yeah, they do.
Is there any
Who's-
organized community garden?
Yeah, there's at least 2 different areas where there are community gardens.
On that
Yep.
same site or something?
Nope, so a different site. One's Newtown Hill below one of the water tanks, and the other one is on the Yap property, which is also off of Newtown Road, where the town purchased fields, and a portion of that is used for community gardens.
What did you call this park?
Fay, F-A-Y-E.
So we're back to 2A over here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep,
So the church behind you,
that's a Unitarian.
not only for religious pieces, it's one of the earlier churches here in Littleton.
Yep.
It's also a site of regular coffee houses, so it's a form of entertainment for the locals. And of course, the other thing you're going to talk about is
The fire station. Yes. This is the fire station. As you can see, they have quarters that are temporary
Temporary.
quarters. The police station used to be on the right, and we'll drive you by the new police station. This year, town meeting, fire department is going to be requesting funding for a design, and then a year from now they'd request construction funding
For a new fire
for
station.
new fire
on
station this site, right?
And you only have one fire station.
Correct. Now you can see the front of the fire station. So they have a conceptual design that they'll bring to town meeting requesting design funding for that.
and that's the historical society that used to be
Oh.
the library.
That's
It
right.
had to be the library.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
Basins behind you there as well. And the Congregational Church just did a massive renovation of the property. This was one of the early 1800s churches that
Oh,
people schismed off of before they became Unitarian.
Yep, yep. And then on the right and all the way up the hill is Morgan property. This open space property owned by the town.
it's owned by the town?
Yes.
Called Morgan?
Yeah. And so, we just passed the turn off to town hall, so we're back where we started, now going the other direction.
Whole west side of town.
Yeah,
And then we'll go over to the east.
yeah, yep. Yep, yep. There's a lot of things that we didn't get to see, but, tried to think of where we could see a lot.
Or bed and breakfast in town.
Yeah, bed and breakfast, and then some elderly housing in the rear. And that one's, I think, has been quite successful. A post office that is overtaxed, no parking. and actually I want to go all the way down to 15 Great Road. So we're driving through the Village Common area. A lot of the land around the common that was zoned business was rezoned Village Common to allow mixed use by special permit.
Is anything happening?
Keep waiting. Let's see, one new building, it'll be the gray and yellow one on the left. Acton Toyota put a detail center at the rear of that and retail on the front of it. So we'll come back down this way as well.
Path there.
Past the daycare is Village, no. Garden, yeah. Then Cooper property is this next property. So Cooper land on the right, Fletcher land on the left. Yeah. A ski hill, Neshoba Valley Ski Hill is on the back side of that hill, and the tubing park is right down from there. So this whole discussion about the Cooper property and disposition of that is going to be key. Church Meadows, that was the name of the property. The town was able to purchase some of the farmland that we just went by.
Church Meadows.
Yeah.
Our regional church originally bought the property to site a new church, but then the costs became excessive on the planning and decided to renovate the existing property.
So the town was able to step in and purchase that, and it's used for active agricultural uses. Now we're Great Road heading east. Well, to the state, it's not east. To me, it's always east to Acton. It's Route 2A, 110. Private Montessori school here. Horse farm, private horse farm here. So I always refer to this as 15 Great Road because that's how it was first produced. And then plus we'll go around to conventional subdivision that's at the back end of the property. Oh yeah, a little more than they anticipated. So, and we're almost on the Acton town line going west.
Yeah, because the Acton Town Forest is like a stone circle, whereas this Maycott Woods.
Right, with Avalon.
Yes.
There was a certain number of children that were anticipated, but we haven't done the zip code analysis or the street address analysis to find out how many students have been generated from this development. But that'll be a very good question to have answered.
They follow through on the number of bedrooms per unit that they
Yeah.
to?
Yeah, thanks.
Myron, how many total units between the subdivision?
100 and-
So that's a home ownership 40B. This is rental 40B, and that's a standard subdivision?
We haven't been to the standard subdivision yet. We'll go around to there in a minute.
Oh, so this is all part of the home ownership 40B?
Yeah. All done is under one comprehensive town used Ed Marchant.
No, but I mean, who is the developer's consultant? Remember?
I don't know. Yeah. See, I don't cover appeals board, so
Right.
I only hear parts of that. Doesn't matter. These were first townhouses, attached townhouses, but then they decided that those wouldn't sell, so they came back and
The single family product?
decreasing the number of units by 10, but same number of bedrooms, I think, if I remember right. But they did
So
it.
is there a package plant serving all this?
Yeah. the package plant that serves the apartments, the single-family homes, plus the homes on the standard subdivision. There was the option, the town had the option to have a couple existing lots on the next subdivision over, tie into the treatment plant, but town meeting did not approve moving forward with that part of it. So, didn't want to set the precedent of having sewer lines under, private sewer lines under public roadways. Seemed to be the issue. Oh, and I guess the Council on Aging was a little surprised with how quickly they started getting calls for service from this new development.
Oh,
It-
really?
You know, the town had thought about, you know, what are the impacts to police and fire and schools, hadn't thought about what are, yeah, yeah, but.
Right, because this is a good place to downsize.
Yeah, yeah. Then we know of, we believe that we know of a few families that have done just that, that have downsized, that lived elsewhere in town.
But this also points out the need for commuting, transportation, and access.
Absolutely, yep, yep. How to tie it all together. Yep. So Appia Dior was a subdivision that was started in the 60s, the other end of it. And then the bank developer ended up going bankrupt. And then in the 90s, I guess, a new developer purchased the rest of the subdivision, came to the town and developed the rest of it. That's the new homes on this side. Open space subdivision that was done, the property was owned at the same time as the 40B. This was done as an open space subdivision. So these are standard, I guess I call it a standard subdivision.
So you want to flip around any spot you're welcome to.
So do you have
So-
an increasing Asian population?
Yeah.
And is it primarily Indian or Chinese? Or both?
Oh, I didn't, I thought you said aging.
Oh. I saw a house where an Indian family was living. I could tell by the decoration on the edge of the doorway. So it just reminded me of asking that question.
Yeah, yeah, and I think we have some demographics that show that. In permitting department, it's been interesting to hear what some families like to do before they purchase a new home, before they move in, before it's finished, the certain things, and it's always good to understand a little bit more about the different cultures. So anyway, open space that was granted on this one is back over this way.
But is it primarily Indian or primarily Chinese? Because that would be a language issue.
Actually, probably both. Yeah. So I guess this end of Apple Dior is pretty typical of the newer subdivisions that we see. The large houses, septic system, individual septic systems. A lot of them are, even on the new construction, the systems were mounted. And then we get to the older part of Grist Mill Road, where the subdivision first started in the 60s, which is one of the neighborhoods that actually has a separate name, or is no Snow Village.
No.
Yeah.
And the folks who started down in that neck of the woods had a asparagus farm in the backyard.
Really?
Yeah.
They no longer?
No.
Oh,
No.
love asparagus.
You have a lot of seniors who live in that neck of the woods.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because you had mentioned trying to do some neighborhood discussions. It's a little
Or if
difficult
not,
because
neighborhood district. Right?
yeah,
Area.
I think
We generally say
I think area is probably going to be a little more where we're headed.
Yeah.
Because there's the Long Lake area,
Right, Long Lake.
and Forge Pond area and Mill Pond area, but a lot of that we can, if we reach out through the pond associations and the Clean Lakes Association, which is the major association of the ponds association, we
People are
should be able to
organized
draw
around
in.
those.
Yeah. So anyway, Snow Drive is what we're on. Snow Village area is one of the
Make a left here.
So
more-
we're in the Snow Village.
yeah, one of the more sought after communities of smaller homes.
So it's Long Lake, Forge Pond, Mill Pond,
Spectacle Pond,
Spectacle Pond.
yep, and actually Cobb Pond, but Cobb Pond is much more recently developed.
So it really is a town organized around its water bodies? Very interesting.
Yeah, a lot of it is because they were old camps around the lakes. Yeah.
Well, it's also all the associated wetlands too.
Oh yeah.
And the topography related to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting to look at the road system on here and just pay attention to the contours of the land. Your point's well taken, but I think it's even richer than that. Where these big wetland areas. And
Right.
it's-
And sometimes the wetlands do obstruct the capabilities for putting in houses.
Right, of course.
Sure.
Were all of them camps? All of the lake communities? Or except Cobb?
A lot of them were
Yeah.
of that ilk. One of the houses that will actually go past on the corner down here is one of those types of one structure dwellings, and they were not really winterized.
Right, right.
Right. The lots were divided 20 feet wide, 100 feet long, sold at the corner store, and
Right.
so some of them were developed as cottages, some of them were held by the families for a very long time, some of them are just being first developed now. Yeah, that'd be fine. So this is the Shaker Lane School. This is the only pre-K through 2. And so a lot of these lots would have been part of the Long Lake development. Some
Yeah.
were a lot of streets that are similar. I mean, each unique but similar idea.
So how does emergency services feel about public safety here?
They're always able to get to where they need to go. However, turning around and right.
I'm sure it affects their response time.
Well, yes and no. I mean, remember, they're centrally located, so their response time is very good any portion of the town. Obviously, having a
Yep. So actually, yeah, we should get out here and stretch.
The website
I am
or
definitely
something
finding an
where-
excuse to get out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, yep.
They rent
lovely.
canoes and kayaks and stuff here too.
Yeah. But yeah, Park and Rec
And
does
what
a
do we
nice
call
job.
this?
Long Lake.
Oh, so we are at
Yes.
Long Lake, okay.
Do they rent them?
Some of it's not developable because of the wetlands, but there's
Sort of this way?
yeah, that way, and then plus back around that way.
Themselves like with the lake, so that's
oh.
why it's a neighborhood in a way.
Yeah. Yep.
It's beautiful,
Oh yeah, it is. Yep.
even on a cold day.
Even on a cold day. That's right. Yep.
Go salty beach.
Even I think it's a little chilly for that.
thanks.
So there's a lifeguard here in the summer,
Yeah.
Whole staff.
whole staff.
Yeah.
Who owns the pond?
I'm going to say that.
This is Great Pond, so technically the state, right? Is that right?
Does the town put any restrictions on the kind of watercraft
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, there is a restriction on that. I don't.
You have to do self-propelled, self-launch. You can't do a power on, power off. The ramp itself is short, so you need to get the boat out and your truck in the water quite a bit to get anything launched.
But you
so
can have a motorized.
You can.
Jet skis?
Probably personal watercraft, but I haven't been up here lately to see whether or not people use them. Forge Pond I know has them,
But there's no public access at Forge Pond.
yeah.
This is Long Pond is the only lake with public access.
Correct.
So I will take that back. There is public access to Newtown. What's the run below Newtown? Nagog.
Yeah.
Nagog Pond. That would be walking access only. Anyway, we magically went from Goldsmith Street to Newtown Road. The tower on the right is an old Defense Department installation, now owned by AT&T. So it's kind of an icon. One of my friends was telling me when they used to come to Littleton to go swimming, they used to get excited when they would pass the tower because they were almost to Long Lake. Right? Yep, property that the town purchased is down on the left. There are community gardens associated with that. A lot of the property on the right, as you get back, is Long Lake Park, which purchased by the town.
Folks who
Remind me of FCPA.
Yeah, yeah. They do the 1% with now the blended, town adopted the blended CPA, and so last couple years, every year we put town funds into the CPA up to the 3%. And then this is the Morrison Orchard, town-owned, purchased with some with self-help funds, operated by a farmer, I guess.
So you lease it to the farmer?
Yeah. And he takes care of the maintenance and all that.
husbandry of the trees.
Yes. So it's this corner, that corner over there, some there,
So
and
large.
then, oh yeah, this was a huge
We used to have some apple trees growing up, and my dad would go out and prune them every day.
community garden and a Yap property. And then every once in a while there is a tear down or consolidation of a couple of the smaller lots for new construction. It's a state program run locally for septic system repairs. It's a low interest loan program paid back through Betterment. Yeah. I think the town had 8 repairs done under that just recently. Okay, so
On the right.
yeah, that's a small 40B with 8 homes. I'm probably just now out of the Long Lake neighborhood. Some of this area was developed as a Baldwin Hill subdivision, but it just kind of one subdivision to the next.
There were a lot of
The
houses
oldest
that were
one.
built similarly on the next street across, were the workers for the mill, because there was this. Go ahead.
That's right. Go ahead, because I don't know those details.
So this building itself, you'll find out a little bit more from the Historical Society, housed one time a garter or girdle factory and a lot of other different things, and has been used for.
The pub building?
Actually, it's a very large set of structures that are here. This used to have the post office here on the left where the extended pub was, and then there was a hardware store that's now up to the right by Donlands, furniture store, and now Trump headquarters. So there's a fair amount of history in that particular building. So we also have, there's a theater group that's here in the building.
Yeah, it's
Cannon Theater. I
right,
think.
right.
What's it called? Cannon?
Cannon. Yep, the Cannon Theater, C-A-N-N-O-N. And then Littleton Lumber down here on the left. Has some of their out facilities, and then the main building is to the left.
What
So
was that
we're-
street that we were on?
Goldsmith Street. Right. Okay, so we're
Yeah,
back.
go up to Starbucks if you would.
Yeah. So we're back on 2A 119 over 495 and to the point.
This was once referred to as the cursed area.
Oh yes. Scratch Flats.
Scratch Flats.
Mitchell. What's his first name? Yes. Thank you. Who lives Beaverbrook Road, next road up. Yep.
So what was on the site before?
Nothing.
Gravel pit or something?
No, Hillside. Hillside. In 1988, the site was first permitted for GE for an office complex. And so the town had it in our mind that it's going to be developed, and so now we have.
Developed it was.
Now, finally, 30 years later, 40 years later. Yeah. So hotel, first thing on the right.
What hotel is it?
Marriott Courtyard.
Courtyard.
Marriott.
I actually found this when we came out for the interview.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't know this was here. This is news to me.
Okay. Made it. Okay.
So is the upper story of that building actually the first floor on the backside? Is
Yes.
that the way it works?
Yeah, it's going to do that there, and then there's going to be one more tier up the hill further. Yeah. So Market Basket was the first to open. Shortly after they had the,
The strike?
the thing going on last year. What, 2 years ago now, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
What hotel is going in there?
Marriott Courtyard.
Nice.
Yeah. Great Road Kitchen just opened not too long ago.
That's what I was looking.
Yeah.
That's what made me think about the.
The upper right. How
is
do
that
you
local,
get there?
Local restaurant, like local.
Yeah, the owner is from Groton, I guess.
Okay, it's nearby.
Yep.
So it'll be like a nice sit down place.
Right. The views from in there are wonderful.
That.
Yeah. Yep. Herbie, don't get run over. We made it.
Cold out, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. So anyway, at the point, Market Basket was the first store to open. We've got numerous other stores open now, and more openings coming soon. They have announced O'Neill Cinemas to be the farthest building on the back of the site, so that's going to be even one level up from. We're on the first level, second level over there. That's the second level, and then back towards Westford will be the third level of shops.
What is this project?
Sam Park. We're very pleased to have been able to work with him on this project. He was looking for regional retail stores, regional restaurateurs. I think most people are very pleased with the mix of stores and restaurants that he's been able to bring in.
Good.
He also has done a lot of extra thought about walking paths, plans to have fire pits, provide for performances. So he's interested in making this more of a destination rather than just go get some food.
Great.
Right.
We've been lucky with Sam.
Where would
Yeah.
that all be? On the second level?
It starts down through here, the walking areas.
Yes, yeah.
Paid a lot of attention to the landscaping and the lighting as well.
Did this come up with their own design and present it to the town? Was there any dialogue?
Yeah, lots of dialogue. Yeah. First, the town, we went through, realized that new office parks weren't being built. It had been approved several times for, about 660,000 square feet of office park, but nobody's building office parks that size. So once we did a traffic analysis of, what uses would work for the site, given the location and given a traffic level that we could live with, once we realized that a mixed use that had retail and restaurant would actually reduce the amount of peak hour traffic that we would have seen from the office park. It's like, okay, well, that would make sense to make that switch. So we did an overlay district, was approved at town meeting. Sam purchased the site shortly after that was made, and then worked with the planning board through conceptual design and then final layout. So going by Beaverbrook Business Park, which is a small business park, yep. Backs up to the town wells, so we have strict controls on things, what kind of uses, but and the water department does tours, inspections of the sites to make sure any hazardous materials they're using on site is in accordance.
Farm behind us here.
Oh yeah, there you go, Springdale. Okay, so we're on Route 119 West, and we've got Springdale Farm and Springbrook
why
Farm.
don't you pull into Gary's?
Springdale and Springbrook?
Yeah.
Springbrook is probably, I think, isn't the longest.
Wait, so we got to see two of the farms. Family names: Cruz, Jamie Cruz, and Matheson on this one. And then Gary's Farm Stand here on this small site. This site is about 3 acres right here. It's zoned residential, but it's not big enough to have the agricultural exemption. So they're searching now what to do with this property.
A lot of the stuff that gets grown, he brings in from his other location up past Groton.
So anyway, yes, this is 119. Yep. On not too far from the apple orchard, we went by the summer camp.
Yes.
That backs up to Forge Pond. That's Nagog Pond. Forge Pond is over this way. Okay.
So do each of these have pond associations?
There are several pond associations, yeah. And most of them tend to be quite active. And even the Pond Association has a Clean Lakes Association, which is a association of all the pond associations.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. And the Littleton Water Department helps staff that association just to keep them communicating.
Called the Clean Lakes Association?
The Clean Lakes Committee, yeah,
Clean Lakes Committee.
yeah.
Is there an agriculture commission?
There is, yeah.
Do you want any townwide planning?
MAPC was working on the region-wide agriculture and farming study, and they did tie into the local agricultural commission for their input on that.
What was the purpose of that study, Mark?
Bill, we have some interior lights that you can throw up.
Support of local farmers, support of farming in general.
I can't do it more.
Has the Agricultural Commission mapped all the agricultural resources, including farms, the farm stands?
I'm not sure what activities they've taken on. So anyways, you can see
Yep,
part of
there it is.
Forge Pond.
Oh, are they ducks up there?
It looks like geese.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
We're now at Forge.
Yeah, we are. And town water was added in this area in the last 10, 15 years, I think.
Is there any flooding of some of these houses?
But no, our hazard mitigation plan is kind of fairly simple. It's not a lot to be concerned about in Littleton. Yeah, apparently the controls for water level are in Westford.
Oh. Commercial here and there.
Yeah. There's the understanding that it would be nice to grow the commercial tax base a little more.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
They're branded.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And there's also a cell tower, a monopole on their property. Lease money from that goes to the Clean Lakes Committee. Well, Clean Lakes, in support of Clean Lakes work. So we're going to go up and see Mill Pond next. One of the proposals is to request funding to restore Mill Pond.
Yep.
Partially a Corps of Engineers job, and then partially self-funded.
Yeah.
And restore in terms of clean water, in
both
terms
sides,
of
yeah.
erosion on the banks, in terms of what?
I'm sorry, I didn't explain, but-
More doing a dredging operation to restore the depth in certain areas to allow it to turn over, well, just to restore some of the fishery there. It's been in discussion for a very long time. Some of the property ownership was actually changed because part of it was an impoundment. So some people own property under the water level. So it's been a long time project. But I think Keith sent you that detailed information on that.
And then we'll come up to the transfer station on our right-hand side.
That's right.
We get out further.
So old, newer subdivision that way, Whitetail Way.
Which abuts the back end of Potpourri
Oh,
and Monarch.
Yeah, it was interesting that you asked about tax rates. I think complaints about how high real estate taxes are is one of the biggest complaints we hear.
well, I say that almost
Yeah.
everywhere we go.
But we're town. So this is the transfer station here. That was the,
So do you do any recycling for any other communities?
no.
Anything income generating that you do?
Yeah.
Or respective groups, Boy Scouts, other groups are allowed to package them up and get the proceeds.
But they do sell some of the recycled wood, etc. The town does, and rolls that back into the cost of operating the facility.
So there were questions, comments about the residents here about
Traffic.
traffic, and then also of the mixed trucks coming out. Because this road normally backs up down to the distribution center in the morning.
Right.
About additional screening, visual screening of some of this activity. Some of it has trees, but some of it is very bare. No one said anything about that.
It's interesting. I haven't heard comments, but that's because we haven't asked, probably. Yeah. And we're on the back of Very Fine. You can see that. And had we kept going on Air Road, we would have been to the high school. And that's some of what backs traffic up so badly in the morning. So one corner of town that we didn't get to is back up that way. Oak Hill, there's a water tank up there and a cell tower up there. And it's and significant amount of open space up there. One of the local families, the Sandersons, sold their property, and that's going under development. 32 lot open space subdivision. So we were able to preserve.
Cluster development?
Yeah. It'll have town water, individual septic systems, and publicly accessible open space.
Oh.
Yeah. So we're coming up on Mill Pond.
A lot of this commercial development seems pretty recent.
Well, but a lot of it was in areas that was already zoned for commercial development.
Right.
So now the question is, as that's getting a little built out, what's next?
Right.
What do we want to see next? Yeah. It's interesting how some of it's been new development, some of it's been redevelopment.
Yeah.
And to me, that's always really interesting to see.
Right.
I like that.
Because now they're buying out an existing built asset. So often what you get in that redevelopment mode is a higher quality than what was there because.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just really, that makes a big difference.
Yeah. So we're particularly interested to see what happens with Very Fine, and see what kind of request comes from a potential new owner. Another thing the Clean Lakes Committee has done for the town is offered funding for the first $100,000 a year for 3 years of stormwater with the new EPA permit coming out very soon. We've got a stormwater action plan put in place, and we've got 2 stormwater bylaws for the May town meeting. And that'll give us time to study if we need to do a stormwater utility or what's next. We're thinking about that, yeah.
What did you work with on your stormwater bylaw?
With town council, Rebecca, she's brand new over at My Aries in Harrington, and then Emily Serbo at Tie and Bond.
Tie and Bond. Okay.
Yeah.
Have they worked on your regulations yet?
No, not yet.
Because that's like where the rubber hits.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of towns have adopted the bylaws and they never adopted the regulations.
Well, we do have a low impact development manual that we reference, at least in site plans. So at least we have a base to start from.
Yes. So you do have a lot of stone walls.
Yeah. Oh, especially along Foster Street. So the older roads, yeah. So I think we've hit all of the main roads. I know you don't get to see the full feel of Littleton from that, but hopefully a good overview.
Yeah. Great starting point.
Right. So we're on our way back to Town Hall, but I wanted to take you by the one of the senior housing developments.
That's at library. Oh,
Yeah.
because that is, yeah.
Yep.
I just thought it would be faster.
So this is town-owned too.
Yes.
Right.
one of the spots that we stop at for Memorial Day, the parade,
That's what I wanted to say.
honoring.
Yeah.
Veterans.
Right. And then they just named that short section of street. Anyway, this is what? Senior housing. Pine Tree Park and,
Yes.
yeah.
Is this federal?
Who did that?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not going to be able to answer any details on it.
That's okay, that's all right. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
1987?
Something along that line.
Doesn't look like sweet.
The Housing Authority has an office here. And we have a fairly new housing director, Lisa Larrabee. She's also Groton, I think.
Okay, maybe that's where I know it from.
Yeah.
I assume you have an increasing elder population.
Yes. Yeah.
We're anxious to stay in town, but don't have a lot of housing options.
Right. The housing production plan that we finished. We made it back to town hall. We finished up our 3-hour tour of Littleton, and looking forward to working with our new consultants on the master plan. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a wonderful tour. And it looks like a wonderful town.
Thank you for watching this show about the Littleton Master Plan Kickoff and Town Tour. We hope to bring you more information about the master plan as the process moves forward. One of the next steps is to start a public input process where the consultants gather your input.
Please watch the town website, the Master Plan Facebook page, and LCTV for announcements of upcoming public input opportunities. Thanks so much.